continuous shift in weather or climate change is putting more and more pressure, particularly in countries in the Southern African region and Zambia not being left out. And this calls for the country to broaden the thinking and think of other ways of how we can grow food in the country to avert hunger. Today on our Food Reserve program, we're looking at diversification. And my name is Alec Mugala in Lusaka. Welcome to the program. Don't go away.
Diversification in agriculture refers to the shift from regional dominance of one crop to regional production of several crops to meet demand. Crop diversification in agriculture leans towards providing solutions to increase total crop productivity in terms of variety, quality, quantity and monetary value. Adding new high-value crops to existing cropping systems is a good way to improve the overall productivity of a farm or region's farming economy.
When we are talking about food and agricultural diversification, we are first looking at agricultural sector to begin with, and you could be aware that 50% of Zambians would be active in agriculture-related activities. And then when we talk about food diversification, we are talking about what should be available in terms of different foods across different food groups. So when we talk about maize, it's we associate it to food security, which is not the case. So when we talk about food security, we're talking about what is available within a food group. So if we talk about cereals, we are talking about millet, for example, sorghum, and other cereals beyond maize, rice, for example. And then we're talking about also in terms of legumes, we are talking about soya beans. So a diversity within and across food groups. So food security basically means this diverse kind of food should be available and accessible, and meaning that throughout the year. So that's basically what we would be talking about when we talk about food security. So we are talking about the diverse availability of different foods for a household to consume in order for them to meet their nutritional requirements.
In Zambia, maize has been and is the country's staple crop, growing extensively for national consumption. Over the years, however, changes in climate is negatively affecting agriculture, forcing not only Zambia but the world over into alternatives that will help foster agricultural production. What would be some of the factors that have hampered smallholder farmers' productivity and inability to good selling?
There are a lot of factors to that, because we are looking at the entire, if you have to look at the entire value chain, you look at the supply side challenges. So we look at the supply side challenge, we are talking about what inputs are available. So you find that if you check maybe on the market now, you find that maize seed would be readily available for a very simple reason that it's assured in terms of market assurances on the other hand. So you find that farmers, in as much as they appreciate diversity, they cannot mostly risk because of the market, which is not assured, and also the input side of it. So what government has done is firstly, last year the government revised the food balance sheet. So in terms of when we are classified as a malnourished country, they look at issues with diversity. So meaning that now it is possible in terms of even the e-voucher that a farmer can redeem, for example, small livestock, like goats, and also other inputs beyond just maize. They can redeem, for example, millet and related aspects. So it's trying to roll out that kind of thinking, and amidst changing climate, it means that a household, for example, household food security is compromised in the sense that should the maize, for example, fail, it means that the income potential and also their nutrition and just a general food security will be compromised. So that's why government has made those steps in terms of diversifying the e-voucher and also revising the food balance sheet, so that we should be seeing progressively, these messages getting across to the farmers, so that beyond just redeeming maize, they can also, we could see a picture where they start redeeming other inputs as well, in order to hedge their kind of risk and also to improve their household food security.
The Food Reserve Agency, FRA, mandated to buy and store maize for strategic national reserves, now stands at the forefront in encouraging local farmers to diversify growing high-value variety crops other than maize. The Food and Nutrition Commission of Zambia advises farmers to learn the growing of drought-resistant crops and understand the types that suit the areas of cultivation.
There is need for farmers to look at their location in terms of the, as you could be aware, we've got 3 agroecological zones. So mean that we are basically encouraging farmers to grow what is suitable for their area. So in a place, for example, that has got low rainfall, we expect farmers, for example, to grow maybe more like drought-tolerant crops like maybe millet. And you could be aware that, for example, the southern province of Zambia has been affected a lot, and that picture, we expect it to continue. So I mean that we should see more of the southern province continue diversifying from maize to more drought-resistant and short-maturing kind of crops like millet, in order to sustain their livelihoods. So we have to progressively begin changing people's attitude through information dissemination, so that they realize that by their diet they can achieve nutritional security, because we're talking about nutritional poverty as well, in the sense that these micronutrient deficiencies that we are seeing is making us nutritionally poor as a country. So what we are seeing, on one side we are seeing poverty, we are seeing income poverty, but there's one thing that is interesting: nutritional poverty is also increasing. Nutritional poverty will mean that the failure to meet the required micronutrients, it's also increasing, and which is evidenced by the number of illnesses, that diet-related illnesses that we are seeing as a country.
It is for the information of the local farmers and the country at large that apart from maize, FRA also procures strategic reserves for crops such as rice, millet, wheat, sorghum, cassava and other crops if they were grown in large quantities.
The agreements that government goes with the agro dealers, we should be seeing deliberate intentions in terms of making sure that not only maize inputs like maize seeds is available to these agro dealers, but we should also look at other crops. And then the supply side, which is I think of more interest, is the market itself. So when you talk about the major buyer, which is the Food Reserve Agency, you'd find that they are more skilled towards buying maize. So in meaning that we should be able to see also a policy shift in terms of how FRA positions itself to assure farmers that they are willing to buy not only maize but other inputs, other crops per se. So when we see that that shift is made, then if a farmer is assured of a market, then we are going to see diversification happening naturally. And a recent study which was conducted by IAPRI this year shows that in terms of the hectareage, you find that if a farmer has got maybe, for example, maybe 2 hectares, then you find that 75% they would naturally grow maize because of those issues to seed markets, and also the inputs. It's easier to get maybe maize seed on the market, and it's also assured of a market as well. So once we see those shifts in terms of how FRA positions itself, and also just general assurances, and also putting across the nutrition messages to these households, then we will be able to see that shift. Because in terms of the household, we are looking at issues to do with gender, in terms of bringing women on board, because it has shown, evidence has shown that if women, if we buy into this message, then we are going to see the likelihood of that particular household diversifying is very high. Unlike with men, because you find that men would be more skewed towards cash crops. So meaning that we continue to see a picture where despite the government maybe diversifying the e-voucher, that's a farmer input support program, we are going to see if men continue playing a leading role, we are going to see men continually, redeeming maize because of maize inputs, because of it being a cash crop. So there's a lot of work that has to be done in terms of working for partners like the civil society, and also women groups to try to bring women on board so that they can play an active role in terms of helping households to diversify.
Crop diversification makes good economic returns with different value-added crops. The world at large is looking for ways of meeting the ever-growing demand to avert hunger, and time is of the essence.
As a commission, we encourage households to really take the diversification agenda seriously, because of we are seeing a lot of micronutrient deficiencies and related diseases. We are talking about for example, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, because of naturally the kind of foods that we are eating. So it means that if we can diversify our diets, if households can diversify our diets, their diets, you find that we are going to reduce on this, for example, non-communicable deficiencies and micronutrients deficiencies. And what does that do for the country? What that does for the country is we are going to save in terms of resources that we are using to treat this kind of diseases that come because of the diet, because of lack of diversified diet that we are currently experiencing as a country. So I mean that farmers should not fear to diversify, and the diversification will assure them of incomes, it will assure them of household food security, and it will assure that they meet their micronutrients, and it will assure that Zambians remain healthy. And we need a healthy population in order to meet what we are calling now the Sustainable Development Goals. We need a healthy population that is not only that is not only income sustainable, but also that is nutritionally viable, in order for us to realize the various goals that we have as a country.
The fast and ever-changing climatic conditions require that farmers begin to make a shift in agricultural practices to ensure continuity at being productive and earning income.
Growing crops that suit certain areas and weather conditions may just be the answer to most of the food issues that we are currently experiencing, and diversification may just be the way to go. This has been our program for today. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of everybody involved in this production, my name is Alec Mugala in Lusaka. God bless you, and bye for now.